Who says nice guys finished last? Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 movie nerds who get the girl. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're looking at all those dopey, clumsy, and/or antisocial big screen dudes who, despite overwhelming odds, have just enough charm to win over the hearts of the girls they're crushing over. Number 10, George McFly, Back to the Future.
Lou, give me a milk. Chocolate.
He spends his Friday nights watching nerdy TV. He writes sci-fi stories in his free time. He's a magnet for kick-me signs. George McFly is a nerd, but he's also proof that, with a little help and a lot of guts, nerds can get the girl. When 80s teen Marty McFly time travels to 1955 and disrupts his parents' meeting, he's at risk of being erased from existence.
I'll miss my favorite television program, Science Fiction Theater. Yeah, but George, Lorraine wants to go with you.
Worse yet, his mom Lorraine is one of the popular kids, while his daddy-o is not. But somehow, George musters the courage to stand up to Biff the bully, saving Lorraine and changing the course of his life.
Are you okay?
We guess density was on his side. Number 9, Dave Lizewski, Kick-Ass.
Ever since I was little, I've always wanted a friend like you. Is it okay to say that? I mean, that's not homophobic, is it?
Dave Lizewski is your typical high school nerd. He reads comics, cracks pop culture references left and right, and has eccentric fantasies about becoming a superhero. On one hand, his vigilante antics as Kick-Ass get him into some unfortunate situations, resulting in brutal beatdowns from all kinds of thugs. On the other hand, being Kick-Ass fuels Dave with more courage than he previously had, allowing him to talk to the beautiful Katie Doma without stumbling over his words.
Why are you just as Kick-Ass?
Because I am Kick-Ass.
What are you talking about?
I'm also not gay.
She does mistakenly believe that Dave is gay at first, and the two only hang out as buds. But you know what they say, friends make the best lovers.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you.
Number 8, Sam Witwicky, Transformers. Poor Sam Witwicky didn't have a chance in the universe of landing a date with the stunning Michaela Baines.
Are you new to school this year? It's your first year?
Oh, no. We've been in the same school since first grade.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, a long time.
But when they both get dragged into a battle between two warring factions of transforming robots, a spark is felt between them that neither of them could have predicted. As the pair do their best to aid their newfound allies, the Autobots, they share many scenes bonding and learning more about one another. Sam realizes that Michaela is more interesting than your typical hot girl, and she similarly picks up on how Sam is more charming and brave than he lets on.
I'm really glad I got in that car with you.
Number 7, Cameron James, 10 Things I Hate About You.
Saturday night?
You're asking me out? That's so cute. What's your name again?
Poor Cameron. Like many young men, he's too shy to approach the girl he's crushing over, Bianca Stratford. Fortunately, he comes up with a brilliant plan to get her attention. Is it walk up and just talk to her? No, that would be too easy. Instead, Cameron devises an overly elaborate strategy to convince a bad boy named Patrick that he met at school to date Bianca's ill-tempered sister in order to get around any awkward situations that may arise, specifically with her strict parents.
My dad just came up with a new rule. I can date when my sister does.
You're kidding. Let me ask you, do you like sailing? Because I read about this place that rents out
A
boats.
beaucoup problemo, Calvin. In case you haven't heard, my sister's a particularly hideous breed of loser.
In the end, Bianca finds out what Cameron was up to, but realizes any guy who goes through that much trouble for you is worth a shot.
Hi.
Wow. I am... Wow.
Number 6, Gary Wallace and Wyatt Donnelly, Weird Science. Gary and Wyatt are intelligent science whizzes, showing an incredible amount of knowledge and skill in their respective fields. However, the same can't be said for their ways with women, as they clam up and panic at the thought of approaching a girl.
Nobody likes us. Nobody.
Why are you messing with the fantasy? We know about the reality.
To get over their fear of speaking with the members of the opposite sex, Gary and Wyatt put their science abilities to good use and create a living, breathing, sexy supermodel out of thin air named Lisa.
So, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
Thanks to Lisa, Gary and Wyatt find themselves powered with a newfound sense of confidence. Smart is sexy after all. Number 5. Columbus, Zombieland.
What are the odds? Another marriageable woman to bring home to the folks.
Come quick.
In a post-apocalyptic world overrun with zombies, the last personality traits you want are timidity, clumsiness, and being soft. Unfortunately, all of these qualities summarize Columbus. When he meets a brash and cool con artist known as Wichita, real name Krista, you'd be hard-pressed to find two people who are more polar opposites.
It wasn't just because I had nowhere else to go. It was because in that moment it became clear. Wherever this girl was, that's where I wanted to be.
But as we know, sometimes opposites attract, and that motif rings true when it comes to the bonding experience between Columbus and Wichita, where she teaches him to toughen up and he shows her how to be more positive amidst a messy situation. They balance out their respective strengths and weaknesses, which is a sign of something very special. Number 4. Seth, Superbad.
Yeah, I love parties.
Really? I just don't really ever see you at them.
You know, it's a love-hate thing. So, like, right now, I really love them, though.
Seth is a pudgy, dopey high school senior who desperately wants to party with popular kids and lose his virginity before graduation. When he decides that his home ec partner Jules is the lady he wants to score with, Seth rallies together a group of dudes to get into a party, and into bed, with the girls of their dreams.
You're like the coolest person that's ever talked to me. I thought we'd both be drunk.
What does me being drunk have anything to do with it?
Ever get with me if you were sober?
Things don't go quite so smoothly, however, with the whole scenario getting way out of hand and Jules even receiving a black eye as a consequence. Thankfully, this helps Seth realize that there's more to life than sex, as the whole fiasco matures him into a gentleman, just in time to be with Jules. Number 3. Scott Pilgrim, Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Do you want to hang out sometime, get to know each other? You're the new kid on the block, right? I've lived here forever, so there are reasons for you to hang out with me.
With his soft-spoken voice, gentle mannerisms, and a low self-esteem, Scott Pilgrim isn't exactly the most attractive male on the market. Yet somehow, despite his non-confrontational attitude, Scott finds himself tangled in a complex web with his newfound lover, Ramona Flowers, and her 7 evil exes. If love is indeed a battlefield, then Scott wages a war to conquer each of the increasingly bizarre exes and ensure his place alongside his new girlfriend. It's an uphill battle for sure, but Scott proves that underneath his tender exterior was a guy willing to go to any lengths for his girl, a quality Ramona no doubt notices.
Mind if I tag along?
You want to come with me?
Yeah. Thought maybe we could try again.
Number 2. Peter Parker, the Spider-Man franchise. Despite being the amazing Spider-Man, he has to live most of his life as the dweeby, nerdy Peter Parker.
You're taller than you look.
I hunch.
Don't.
This frustrates Peter to no end, as it keeps him from being able to get close to his dream girl, Mary Jane Watson, who shows a high interest in his wall-climbing alter ego.
It's funny. He saved my life twice, and I've never even seen his face.
Oh, him.
Ultimately, Mary Jane realizes that Peter's sincere and thoughtful personality are far more comforting than a guy swinging around in his underwear. And even though they don't technically end up together by the end of the first film, Peter was able to establish a connection with the girl next door, and the relationship is further expanded upon in later films.
So here I am, standing in your doorway. I've always been standing in your doorway.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
Okay, let's get this deal straight. One last time. Now, you can have Saturday nights, but only if you ask me in advance.
Okay, I'm asking you in advance. Will you go to the prom with me?
I'm gonna do that stupid dance.
And I just want us to be together.
Jesus.
Are you really having to think about this?
Number 1, Andy Stitzer, the 40-year-old virgin. All of the entries leading up to now have had one thing in common. They were still young men in their teens and 20s. Andy, on the other hand, is a 40-year-old gamer and action figure collector who still remains a nervous wreck at the very notion of interacting with a woman. Oh, and he's a virgin to boot.
I'm a virgin.
Sweet. I like that because you don't have chlamydia.
Yikes. Although he initially begins to man up and show some bravado in his pursuit to lose his virginity, he eventually falls in love with an equally quirky girl named Trish, helping him to realize that meeting the right person is worth the wait, even if it takes 4 whole decades to do so.
For so long, I've thought that there was something wrong with me because it had never happened, but I realize now that it was just because I was waiting for you.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from MsMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.